Hey YouTube world, I am back with another video. Today we're going to go over 5 more indie brands that you may not have heard of, and I've done all of the research for you, and I just kind of want to go over them. And this has become a lot of you have watched me and found my channel because you're looking for luxury alternatives, as there are a lot of big luxury brands out there that we get inundated by ads and posts and whatever. Sometimes you just want to find something that's a little bit more unique and of course a little bit more budget friendly and all of the brands that are out there. So if you haven't seen any of my other videos on indie brands that I highlight, definitely go check them out. I will have the playlist down in the description for you so that you can kind of binge watch them if you like. So let's just get right into it. First brand is going to be called Napa Dory. So I know I have gone over a lot of French brands, a lot of Italian brands, Spanish brands. I'm starting to venture even deeper of a rabbit hole to other countries that are out there that have really awesome brands and products that, at least be aware of, right? And see if they deserve your hard-earned money. So Napa Dory is a company that started in India by this gentleman named Gautam Sinha. And again, if I'm butchering any of these names, forgive me, but he started this company back in 2010. They have stores all over India, Dubai, as well as the UK, and the warehouse is in New Delhi, India. So this is, again, everything I go over here is going to be what I've researched, what I've, found on their website and kind of compiled all of the information for you. Obviously, you can do your own research, and I encourage you to do your own research. So not a whole lot of information on Napa Dory, but what I've gathered through their websites and some articles that I found there on Vogue, Britain or whatever, their aesthetic is very focused on the 1920s and the 1930s. They don't have a whole lot of information about their leather. They don't really talk too much about their craftsmanship other than it was made in India. But they do have a lot of collaboration. They have 10 years worth of feature on Vogue and certain magazines and etc. They focus a little bit more on that, which I found kind of interesting, as opposed to the people that work on these products or where the leather comes from, what's the inspiration, etc., etc. But they do have a lot of collaborations, which I found kind of cool because not every indie brand gets to have collaboration with major brands. They have collaboration with Qatar Airlines, Bricks, Levi's, Kiehl's, and Royal Enfield. So I get the connection there with India as well as the UK and how he was able to, strike these collaborations, which I think is awesome, The one thing, if you do decide to purchase from them, their return policy is very strict. If there's anything wrong with your product, you have to let them know within 48 hours of receiving the product, which is not a whole lot of time. And if there's anything wrong, shipping costs falls on you as the consumer to return anything. Basically, I would just treat it like a final sale item. There's no warranty, nothing about warranty. But with that said, I still think that this is a very cool brand and something to think about. So a couple products I want to highlight here is going to be the Classic Trunk. The Classic Trunk is another, again, when people travel back in the 1920s and 30s, everybody used a trunk like this, right? And it just gives you that reminiscence of how it was to travel back in the 1920s or 30s. And it's got a more modern take to it when it comes to design. So I thought that was kind of fun. But when it comes to actual purses, this Kiss Lock bag caught my attention first. This is a very unique design, in my opinion. It's got that little metal enclosure with the kiss lock, and you open it and you put your stuff in there, right? So I thought that was really cool. Not a big fan of the interior though, because it's the pinstripe interior, which I understand is very 1920s and 30s, but I don't like that because it makes me think of a pillow, like one of those old school prison pillows, or the prison uniform. So I didn't really like that too much. And it does come with a crossbody strap. They did say that the bag itself was made from leather, which I found kind of interesting because how in India they see cows as a sacred animal. So I don't know how that works, but so I was a little surprised when they said they use leather. But they didn't really say where they sourced their leather from. So I don't know if they have enough cows or cowhide to source from India, so they probably import it. Not that it's like super difficult to import, you know, cowhide, but it's just like a question that popped in my mind when I saw that. The other one I saw was the steamer sling, which I thought was it reminds me of the petite malle from Louis Vuitton, which again, I like the petite malle from Louis Vuitton because it kind of showcases their origins of being a luggage and travel company. That's what they're famous for back in the day. So this one kind of reminds me of that. But however, this one is made of plastic. So if you don't like plastic bags, you might not want to purchase this one, but it's a very cute one. You know, I feel like men can use it, women can use it. It looks very well made, but again, it is going to be plastic on the outside. Again, not a fan of the interior lining with that pinstripe fabric. Not a fan. Again, one thing I do want to bring up is so none of these items have weights on them. So even though it's plastic, but I wonder how heavy this bag could be or could not be. It is plastic, so I can't imagine, and of course fabric, it might not be that heavy, but something to think about, right? So the other two bags that I thought were kind of cool was the Harlow shoulder bag. The print is very, very nice. It's kind of different. Yes, it's got that traditional, you know, open enclosure, you know, front flap, but the print of the leather is kind of cool. It's not something you see on a daily basis. And then the interior on this one is going to be herringbone fabric, which I actually like this a lot. If they were to use the herringbone fabric lining for the other bags that I talked about, that would be much better in my opinion. It seems a little bit much more sophisticated in my opinion as opposed to the pinstripes. And lastly, from Napa Dory is the Valerie shoulder bag. This one is actually one of their ads that caught my attention and I clicked on it. This one has a very, very cool enclosure where it kind of just pops open. So it's like this, and then it pops open like this so that you can access the bag. The only feedback I would say about this is that this button that goes over the bag before you pop the metal part open is like one of those pinhole clasps. They could have changed that and put like a metal button that opens with magnets or whatever, because that leather strap, the more you use it and punch it hole through the pin, if I'm even saying this correctly, but you see on the screen here, right? I feel like that leather hole would loosen over time. Okay, that sounded really, that sounded terrible, but you know what I'm saying, right? Like when you open and close that flap to access your bag, that buttonhole is going to loosen up and it's going to stretch out over time. Okay, I can't keep a straight face saying that, but you know what I mean. They could have changed that to something a little bit more sophisticated and have like a magnet enclosure instead. Other than that, I think this is a really interesting looking bag. It's something different. Definitely will stand out in a crowd, but yet not too flashy. So I really do appreciate this particular design. Overall, I think Napa Dory is something really cool if you're looking to kind of venture away from like the Spain or the French brands and you'll want to explore other countries out there. So Napa Dory could be a good one to check out. All right, so the second brand I want to go over is the Horse. This company was started by a couple, Scott and Amy. They are based, this is an Australian brand. You see, I'm actually venturing over to the other side of the world now. But they're based in Sydney, Australia, and they started back in 2009 as a shoemaker, but then moved over to handbags and accessories, which I found kind of interesting because I was on their website and yes, they started as a shoemaker, but then they don't sell any shoes. So kind of weird. And then of course, they did mention on their website their leathers are sourced from Italy and Korea. I know Koreans do eat a lot of beef, so that kind of makes sense. But then when I was clicking around to every single like bag, of course I did, I clicked on every single bag. It does say all of them are made from Italian leather. So I wonder why they say some of the leathers are sourced from Korea. They did say 90% of their Oasis line is constructed and under the Leather Working Group guidelines. I didn't really know what the Oasis line, is, and I kind of clicked through it. I don't know what the Oasis line is. But then they also talked about premium hides that are tanned under the LWG, which is a little confusing at the end of the day. But what they're trying to say is they're sustainable, they're eco-friendly, and they have certain guidelines that they adhere to, which, again, unless there's shown transparency you know, we only can take their word for it, right? They also talked about fluffy things like they use recycled plastic, they use, you know, eco-friendly packaging, et cetera, et cetera. Anybody can really say that. And they only work with carbon neutral delivery services. It was just like, okay, cool. They say they work with DHL and the Australian Post. I guess if you're flying things overseas in an airplane, because, you know, if you're in Australia, if you're available international shipping, how is that carbon neutral? Getting on a plane is not carbon neutral, period, right? I don't know. It would have been better if they just left that information out. Just talking quickly about their return policy, they have a 30-day return policy, which I think is pretty generous, but then also have to think about, you know, shipping it back from the United States or the UK or whatever to Australia. Everything takes time because they're all the way down under, right? And they do have a 1-year warranty, so that's good to hear. So the bags that do interest me as I'm browsing their website is going to be, the first one is the Alexi tote. I thought this was super cute. Their aesthetics are really good and their pricing is really good. $167. That's a really good price considering that it's a full leather bag. And of course, if it's well constructed, et cetera, right? I may have purchased some. So if you want to catch the review on this particular brand, definitely stay tuned, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell if you haven't done so already. I did purchase from this brand, full disclosure. But I just want to do a quick review on this, right? The Alexi tote, I won't tell you which one I bought. I'm just going to go over a couple bags. You can kind of guess. Maybe you can guess. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably already know. But I did purchase a couple bags from them. The Alexi tote, going back to the Alexi tote, it is a super cute one. I think the only part I don't like is like that little tie enclosure to this Alexi tote. But it seems like it's a, you know, pretty straightforward bucket bag. And it does come with a shoulder strap and the top handle. And I love how there's feet at the bottom of the bag. The other one that piqued my interest was the Clara bag. And they come in 4 different colors or 3 different colors. And this is just a very simple, everything I'm talking about here is very simple, very aesthetically pleasing, very minimalistic bag. And I really, you know, I kind of like those kind of designs better, right? So this one, and I also forgot to mention at the bottom here, their description, they do give you like a nice picture of what fits in a bag, which I feel like if you're purchasing online is super important. But this is, again, very straightforward. I do like how the zipper goes all the way around the bag. Now, how it opens, I can't really see. But it seems like it is a pretty simple and straightforward bag that you can access pretty easily. Again, at $140, where are you going to find these prices nowadays? Again, that's if you spend over $100 and you get free shipping, I feel like shipping from Australia would just be really expensive no matter where you ship it to in the world. So I don't know how they're making money here. The other one is going to be the Friday bag. Again, it comes in a couple different colors at $120. I feel like this is a really good price. And for the design, everybody's coming out with shoulder bags. Everybody's coming out with that lunar design. So if you want something very simple and straightforward, I think this could be a good option as well. Then you've got the Clementine bag. This is my favorite out of the 4 I'm talking about today. You've got the top handle, you've got the shoulder strap, and then you can see the flap enclosure. I think this is chef's kiss. This is going to be my favorite one out of the 4 that I mentioned. It's so simple, but then you also see the intricacies of how they designed the bag. And then of course at the bottom of the bag, I wish it was metal feet, but they do create the little 2 tabs of feet to protect the bag. It's different. I'm not going to say I don't like it, but it is different. But kind of defeats the purpose, right? Having metal feet is to protect the leather of the bag, but then when you have 2 strips of leather sewn to the bottom of the bag, doesn't that consider part of the bag? So if it gets ruined, I don't know, kind of defeats the purpose of protecting the leather, right? And by the way, I have everything, all the 5 brands and the bags I talked about linked down below. So definitely go take a look if you want. So the rest of them, some of them do interest me, but like I also see one of they mentioned that their iconic bag is the backpack. I'm not a backpack person. And I look at this backpack, I'm just like, it's kind of ugly. I don't like that backpack. But again, I'm just being biased here just because I don't really wear backpacks in general. There's so many pickpocketers out there. And one more thing, I wish they put the weight of the bags on the website. Is it so hard? I'm just gonna keep complaining. You've heard me complain about this all the time. Put the weight of the bag on your website, especially if majority of your sales are coming from your website. Okay, the third brand I'm going to cover is going to be Lostwoods. Again, another Australian brand, which I don't know, I'm on a roll. Let's see more Australian brands I can find here. But this one I thought was really interesting because they claim to be a plastic-free vegan company. You know I do not like vegan leather. When I say I don't like vegan leather, I mean to say I don't like plastic leather, pleather bags. I'm open to looking at vegan leather if it's made from apple, cactus, or in this case, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about what they're all about, which I found kind of interesting. But again, if it's sourced from natural materials, I know there's not a whole lot of history on there, or there's a lot of research, but we don't know as consumers what that kind of leather, the apple leather, et cetera, is going to wear like 5 years from now, 10 years from now. It's not like, hey, we've seen a Chanel bag from the 1980s with lambskin or calfskin, how it stands the test of time, right? If taken care of properly. But when it comes to apple leather or cactus leather, whatever it is, it hasn't been around long enough for me to be like, okay, I'm going to drop $1,000 or $500 on a vegan leather that I don't know what it's going to look like, down the road. So that's just kind of my beef about it. Let other people see and wear and spend money on those leathers and see how they respond before I decide to take the plunge. And, again, it's not just about the money. It's about space in my closet, in the capacity in my closet. If I want this bag just to sit around so I can see, okay, well, maybe, 10 years from now, let me see what this vegan leather looks like, right? Like, I don't want that. I don't want to be that test person. Their story is kind of beautiful, in my opinion. So they're another Australian brand that started just in 2022, which is very recent. And they work with a shop in Portugal. Now, this Portugal shop apparently has been around since 1975, and they've only worked with leather. They said they vetoed working with plastic leather or any vegan leathers until now because of this particular vegan leather. Apparently, there are only 20, craftsmen or artisans in this particular shop, and they work exclusively with Lostwoods in producing bags. So they use this leather, vegan leather called Mirum. I think it's trademarked. And it's made from 47% natural tree rubber, 26% natural fibers and fillers, whatever that means, 27% plant oils and waxes, and then of course backed with natural cotton. Seems a little fluffy. I mean, I get the 47% natural tree rubber, but then like natural 26% and natural fibers and fillers. Like what is that? They don't really specify on their website. And they claim it's tested to be strong and water resistant. Apparently BMW is using the prototype in their car interiors. So, and this Australian brand, Lostwoods, this lady who started this company did not invent Mirum. Mirum was invented by a scientist in Illinois, here in the States by a chemist. So looking at their bags, I mean, they're pretty simple. They're very straightforward, nothing crazy. You've got your chain bag, you've got your shoulder bag or a baguette. So I'm not going to go over too much detail. It seems pretty straightforward, but when you look at all of this, all of the bags are black. The only customization or choice you have is if you want silver hardware or gold hardware, which I clicked on their silver and gold, like their hardware, their chains. They don't say if it's eco-friendly or sustained. The only thing they say they're working on is their threads. They're still synthetic. Everything else is natural. I don't know how that works. I don't make handbags. I made a card holder, but I don't make handbags. So yeah, everything is in black. So that makes me wonder, have they, with this particular Mirum leather, vegan leather, have they not figured out how to change the colors and they can only produce it in black? Not sure. In my opinion, I'm looking at this brand, their bags, it seems nice, kind of. But then when I look at the interior, it's fabric, right? They're using cotton. I don't like it. I don't like the interior. It looks very cheap. It doesn't seem like it was crafted well. I don't know if it's because of the cotton that they use or the way they created the cloth. It just looks very ripply, if you can see. And looking at the zippers, it looks very ripply. This is supposed to be your showcase bag, right? What you're posting on the internet. And it just doesn't look very sophisticated. Now, the leather itself looks fine on the front, and the stitching looks like it's fine, but I don't know. Again, I don't know how this is going to hold up. But if you are vegan and I don't know, you watch my channel, I talk about leather bags pretty much exclusively. So I don't know if you are vegan and you're watching this, I think this could be a good option for you. If you do decide to purchase from Lostwoods, let me know what your thoughts are. Reach out to me via DM or Instagram, or comment down below. I would love to know there's not a whole lot of information out there. I would love to know what it feels like in person. One thing I forgot to add is talking about the structure of the bag, because I did wonder about that, because the outside vegan leather, interior organic cotton, and then the chain is mysterious. And then when it comes to the structure, they say that they use plant cellulose structural board. Now, I am no scientist or biologist. I think I got like a C or a D in high school in biology, but to me, those fancy words just means cardboard. They use cardboard. Plant cellulose structural board. That just means cardboard to me, right? Isn't cardboard made of plants? Wood? I don't know. So going back to the return policy, they do ship up from Australia. It is a 60-day return policy. Didn't say anything about the warranty. So the biggest question here is we don't know what the wear and tear is going to look like. So let me know down in the comments below if you have Lostwoods, if you experience Lostwoods, or if you decide to purchase one after watching this video because you are vegan. Let us know. Let a girl know. By the way, have you hit that like and subscribe button just yet? If you haven't done so, please do so. Helps me and my channel out. So getting into the fourth brand, which is called Me Bosla. It's a UK-based brand, supposedly in London, that started back in 2020. And Me Bosla means my bag for Spanish. I find it really interesting how all of these brands are, based in certain countries, and then they use a different language to name their brand, and it means something in a different language. I don't know. I just find that really interesting. If you're based in London, why don't you just call my bag? I guess that would sound kind of weird. Me Bosla. If you speak Spanish, if you're from Spain and it's just like, yeah, I'm wearing my bag. I know you're wearing your bag. It's kind of like my first corgi. Not to go on the tangent here, but it's like my first corgi. I didn't name my first corgi. Me and my brother got my corgi together and he decided to name the corgi. My first corgi, and then we would be going down the street. It's like, oh my God, you have a corgi. He's so cute, blah, blah, blah. And what's his name? Corgi. They just stare at me for like 5 seconds like, yes, I know you have a corgi. What's your corgi's name? Corgi. So Me Bosla, if they wear these bags, the people in Spain wear Me Bosla, which is a British company, so to speak, you see where I'm going with this, right? It just seems a little weird. There is absolutely no information on this website about their brand. They've been featured in British Vogue. They've been featured in, magazines, very similar to like the Napa Dory kind of story. They don't say anything, and that's pretty much it. I am truly perplexed with how little information. But then again, if you think about it, it's kind of like Pollen, right? Pollen, if you go on the website, they've revamped the website. It's gotten a little bit better. But when you first started looking at Pollen's website a couple of years ago, it was terrible. There is absolutely no information. No warranty information, no instruction information, no leather information. They just say that they were made in Spain, and that's pretty much it. And yet Pollen blew up, right? The only thing they'll say is they get free shipping. There's a lot of, deals that they have, and satisfaction guaranteed. So there's not a whole lot of information on this, but I find it really interesting in any case. Looks like there are a lot of dupes. They did say they use premium Italian leather. The couple ones, I'll just go through a list of them because I think this is pretty interesting. If you like these styles and you like dupes, I think this could be a good option without actually having to purchase, the Louis Vuittons of the world, right? So the Calpiso, I like this one because it looks like the Hermes Roulis bag, but then they put their own spin on it. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I'll just rapid fire here. La Cesta. This one, I feel like it's a little bit more original. I don't know who came out with this first. It does remind me of the new tote bag from Loewe, but then they put a spin on it with the flap opening and it tapers down this way. I don't like how it's like two magnets. I wish it was a little bit more seamless where the magnets are built in, like the horse. It was built into the flap of the bag at the enclosure. But I think this one is a little bit more original. Then going to the Ursula. Oh my God, this is like a straight copy from Hermes' new collection. I don't know. Would you buy this one? If it's just straight copying from Hermes? I don't know. The corgi bag, obviously. Then you've got the Doors tote. This is a Laurel Piana. I don't want to say like replica, but kind of. Then you've got the Quinn. This is basically like the Celine box bag, which there are a ton of like dupes that are out there for the Celine box bag. I do like the pink one. The textured leather is kind of cool. Then you've got the Sentosa. This is very cute and very summery. So I think this could be more original when it comes to their designs. The next one is going to be the Madrid. I think this one is very cute as well. Something that is a tote, very simple. It's not a dupe of anything. I also like the Riley. I think this one is super unique. I probably wouldn't go with the contrast stitching on the black one, but if you go with like the lighter colored ones, it makes it look a little bit more seamless. Again, the shoulder bag, I do like that braided handle shoulder strap. I think that one's pretty unique. And this one's only priced at $187. Yeah, I think I would try it if it's, good leather. This one is pretty interesting. This next one, which is the Lucia Unia. It's kind of like the puzzle bag, right? The Loewe puzzle bag, but then they put their spin on it. So I think I would be much more comfortable wearing the ones that are dupes, but then they put their own spin on it. I'm for that. The Laura Piano one is just straight like a copy. I probably would stay away from that. Then you've got the Sage. This is a dupe, so to speak, except they're not using the monogram. So if you really like that particular style from Louis Vuitton and you don't want the monogram, I think this is a great option. So that covers 4 different brands. I just realized this was like a 30-40 minute long video. So I lied in the beginning. I said I was going to cover 5 bags, but I'm just going to cover 4 bags today. So I hope you enjoyed that video. If you haven't seen the other bag brands that I've reviewed, definitely go give that a look. See if there's any new discoveries that you want to add to your collection. Life is hard. I want to help you save time and money so that you can somehow adult easier and hopefully less than retail. I'll see y'all next time.